Welcome once again, listeners, and this is Fate's Rest. Today, we're going to do something we've only done a couple times, and it's something that we should have done a long time ago, but we got caught up and we're enjoying the flow of the story. And today, we are going to be doing a Season 2 recap. So let's get into it. We are joined by our three cast members, sitting in their chairs as usual. And we actually have the director with us today as the director of the recap, instead of a PA or the owner of the studio.
Ooh, how fancy.
I mean, It's about time you showed up for one of these.
You see, I have to keep the writers from going on strike, so I have to baby them. It's a pain.
You know they won't go on strike if they're paid correctly, right? That's usually why it happens.
It's specifically their, children sometimes. You pay them what they want, and then they want something else. Like, oh, give me this on my contract. Ooh, give me this. I don't want to get into it.
Considering that we've all signed contracts with you, are you sure we're the people you want to be complaining about this to?
I don't know. Sounded like a certain S word.
Your contracts are with the studio, not me.
I don't know. It sounds to me as though I should be asking for a little bit more.
If it's the studio, if you go talk to the guy who owns the building, that's his job. I passed it off to him. So, Season 2. It got kicked off with a bang, I guess. There's a lot of stuff happens in that first couple of episodes of Season 2.
Oh yeah, there was quite a lot to catch up on. We were left off on a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah. We met a special guest who isn't here to do this, of course, because they have prior engagements. But each of you started out in a place befitting each of your individual stories, and some important things happened on each end. Some revelations were made, some powers were unlocked, all kinds of fun stuff. Let's start with what Zug found in his area.
Well, I think the first question would be as to which story, but that's also the answer in and of itself. So his first situation, that when he woke up, realizing where he was, he also realized that he wasn't who he had been for the entirety of Season 1. The little voice came back and made a much larger appearance this time around. But
It did.
yeah, woke up in the fields and the worn down home, and the sights of the city and civilization kind of all dotted around, and found out the definite two personalities, I guess is the way you want to go with it. And I think there was a fun little bit there personally where he goes to enter, and well, I broke the door unintentionally. I didn't realize it was that fragile, and had to carry a doorknob through the whole scene. So there's that. Well, met 12 of the people that are not as Sig would have remembered them, but one of them was Sig's oldest daughter, Selby. And they referred to him as the commander and asked him to take charge, as he was the last surviving member of the original command group, which definitely was awkward for him. And then he got to see little glimpses into the life of Sig before he returned back to the tavern.
Oh yeah, it's always fun times to see how other person lives, especially when they've commandeered your body.
Well, I think probably one of the most interesting parts about it was it kind of showed that he's not all gruff. That there's more depth there. Just the gruff is a coping mechanism, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while he was out there having a family reunion, I got thrown into the desert.
Yes.
And we met our first elemental, which was interesting to say the least. It was a giant frog or toad, I suppose. And well, really, this frog had woken and decided that it needed to start going, even though it was early. And it was Callie's job, of course, to stop it. You can't just let this thing rampage into a town. So she unlocked an ability inside of herself and roared and showed her power. The toad was ready to calm down and listen to her, and she forged a pact and all of that. It was very confusing and interesting, because a little later in our conversation we'll tell you about why that was interesting. But that's really what happened there. I don't have too many personal revelations to uncover. It was mostly just getting sand out of my shoes for the next week.
How is the little hopper doing? I know they gave each of y'all a pet this season. Well, they tried to give each of y'all a pet this season.
I don't know that I'd call him a little hopper. Do you see the animatronic for that thing? It's huge.
The animatronic, yes. The actual animal they gave you should fit in the palm of your hand, unless you've been feeding him Miracle Grow.
Anyway, I think it's Yulby's turn.
Oh, you've lost it, haven't you?
Just gonna sip a drink over here.
Yeah, no, they sent me off to the rainforest. Now, let me tell you, in my costume, it was awful. It's a heavy thing, and now I have to be put into a wet climate. It was just... It was not great. And I was also... Well, I was kind of glad about it, too, because it made the acting that much better, because I had to pretend to be sick. Because... You know, the cliffhanger off of season 1, I ate the magic egg, so of course I'm going to have some problems. And
yeah.
So I'm here in the jungle just stumbling around, and I think they they didn't really give me any directions, and I kind of had to figure it out. But eventually I find a little fire after trying to, star my own survival series. That's what it felt like. And I meet Dizzy once more. But Dizzy reveals a secret to me, and he's actually a changeling.
Oh yeah, that's a fun secret.
Yeah.
Oh. He's more than a changeling.
Oh, he's definitely more than a changeling. He's the god of luck, our dearest Jack. Here's where the gods come in, right? So apparently Jack was the one that sent all of us to our various places, and he pulls Yulby aside to have a talk and tell her a little bit more about herself. Because apparently Ira, the goddess of war and mortal man, he was a friend to her, and he was tasked to taking care of Yulby when she was a little tiny child, and it was a lot of information to find out.
It was. It's a significant amount of stuff to drop in the first episode of the season.
Definitely.
But it had to be done. And then once you've all returned to the tavern, which that set just gets more and more ragged as the campaign goes on, you meet a young dryad named Freya, who is our guest person, our guest star of this time. And apparently a frozen forest is on fire. How'd y'all deal with that?
Somewhat simply, actually. We had to go find this elemental, second elemental. You see how it's a theme that's starting to come up. Which was just hanging out in their cave where they live, I suppose. And we went there, and she told us about pacts and how whatever pacts the elementals had before have been broken and they need to be repaired. And our guest, the Shrine Maiden, ended up signing a pact with this one. This elemental was the one of ice, right? Yes. And so the reason everything was on fire was because the ice pact had been broken, you know.
Yeah, and the world is kind of like slowly breaking, so of course there has to be natural disasters everywhere, and up is down and down is up, left and right are mixed matched.
Mm-hmm.
You know the drill for the end of the world.
Yes.
Because, like I said, did eat the world's seed, so the world's kind of fucked.
Well, as it turns out, you're not supposed to consume those.
No, you're not.
I mean, that depends. But you help the Shrine Maiden, you help our dear guest friend out. And after rebuffing the advances of several of the Amazon women, both on and off screen, you make it back to the tavern where the gatekeeper does this massive amount of information drop. And I'll kind of summarize all that. Essentially, he told y'all about the elementals and how many are left. And of course, the world's breaking, we gotta fix it, and all kinds of fun stuff. And there's a bunch of sass tossed back and forth, and you learn about essentially the gatekeeper equivalent of Zoom on a map, which is fun. Then you head off to the next spirit.
I think you're missing a little bit there.
Oh,
Yes, I mean, this was also the time when he told us more about the Calamity and the fallen heroes and those 3 weird people who we just fought who threw us everywhere. Or, I guess they didn't throw us, but that's not the point. Because he told us that the Calamity happened because basically the gods didn't do their jobs. And then whenever they stopped it, they didn't stop it permanently, so they didn't do their jobs a second time, and now it's kind of our turn. This part's relevant to my character because, as you hear throughout the season, she's not exactly the biggest fan of the gods, and this kind of underlies those feelings.
there was also a bunch of personal stuff that kind of popped up. I think that's definitely stuff we should touch on here. Each of you had some things. Well, 2 of you had some things. The other one was mainly the egg was salty, which I think it was salted gelatin or something like that they gave you.
Oh, no, it was an actual egg. I just had to kind of make something up. Well, I mean, Yulby does learn some things. She just chooses not to disclose any of that information to her friends just yet.
That's fair.
Speaking of disclosing information, Callie actually discloses a very important information at this point in time. She tells the rest of the party that she's actually a dragon. and is then inundated with questions from Yulby about how that works out, because she doesn't look like one. But
Yeah, there's
to summarize for the listeners to this particular recap, she's a dragon. She's just cursed that she can't move out of this form. It's a whole thing. We'll tell you more about it later when that comes up.
And I guess while we're going on the reveal side, after the guest had left and we saved everything, Fritz then had to introduce the fact that he is actually Fritz, and the personality they're used to is Sig. One thing that I thought was kind of a funny situation in the whole lead up to when he didn't announce that fact was how he defended the idea of that signing a bargain or signing a deal away to a powerful entity, and it wasn't picked up that he basically has already done that. That's why he was like, it sometimes works out for the best.
Well, that doesn't mean everybody should do it.
Well, no, but it was just kind of a funny little thing that was thrown in there that I don't really think was picked up fully by some people.
Oh, and that's where we got the 2,000 years thing, too.
Yeah. But yeah, then part of that also lore of all the story dumps was Sig was upset because the news of Ira's death made the sister curse the Celestials for the death of Ira. So that was a fun little loop.
Yeah. Our sister's not fun. I really hope we don't have to cast that one as a character either.
I'm sure it'll be a great time.
This is when you're told where the next... well, you've already been told that because of the sash given to the gatekeeper.
Yeah, we wanted to know where each and every spot was, so we got all, 7 places left?
There were 6 left at the time.
Oh, 6 left.
But yes, he was like, oh, let me tell you where the next one is. And, well, frankly, Callie was over that and was like, no, you're telling us where all of them are right now. I'm sorry if that circumvented any plans you had to keep bringing that character back so we could ask him the same question, but...
No.
Well, I mean, he is the god that supposedly knows everything, so...
He should have known it was coming, right?
Certainly.
He surprisingly knows very little.
Well, yes, with that we go off to the first location. We're trying to find a serpent of sorts.
This is the element of water is what you're looking for, and you head to Callie's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Home Island?
Home Island town? Kind of both.
Something like that?
I mean, with the
Island
reveal of her
hometown.
being a drag, like, she didn't really live in the town most of the time, but, we meet some of her backstory characters, like Tazul. When she last saw everyone, they were statues, and they aren't now, so that was a nice reveal. Tazul teaches them magic. Everyone's setting up for a festival, but Callie decides that we need to do work first. And is
Yeah, so
subsequently
we head to the shrine.
yes.
teased for it, but that's
The
fine.
group of mom.
And she knew already about the serpent. She didn't directly engage with the serpent too often, but some of her friends of the forests did, so they were able to fairly easily find where to contact her. And I think your character was the one that made the pact, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we went up to the shrine and we basically had a music party dance-off thing. It was great. And now I have a little tiny pet snake as my buddy now.
Ah, yes. Raymata.
Oh, she's very beautiful as a set piece and as my little pet.
Yeah. It took us forever to find a snake that looked pretty close to the animatronics they built for it.
That begs the question why you didn't find the snake first and then build the animatronics after the snake?
We kind of reused an old animatronic, saved money.
Maybe just
'Cause we
repaint
spent a lot
it.
of money on. we spent a lot of money on traveling to be on location for certain things so far, and we were like, we need to save some money now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the budget went to locations. There's been a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, I still agree with Avon in that you could have just repainted the old one, but, you know, I'm not the one who makes all the budget decisions, but I am saying that your writers are on strike, so maybe there are some other budget decisions that could be made. Anyway.
We returned to the town and party.
Oh,
This
definitely.
was the easiest scene in my life I have ever had to direct, because I just told you to have fun.
Mm. Oh, we even get Jack back again. And we also learned that Kelly does know how to have fun.
Oh yes. For once, she cuts loose a little bit and enjoys this party, this festival, and it's a good time. Then she gets a little aside moment with another one of those god characters, the Scarlet Fox. If you'll recall from the previous season, the Scarlet Fox is the person who cursed her. Or so she believes until this conversation. The Scarlet Fox said, no, you cursed yourself. And they kind of disagree on this point, but it's fine. She also says that she took care of the island for you, another point that they disagree on. And basically says that the curse will be slowly lifted as Callie grows. And that she'll be watching, but not necessarily helping save the world or anything. So the conversation ended up mostly with Kelly knowing that the curse will be slowly lifted. She gets her wings back, which is a nice addition, but she still doesn't like any of the gods, and that's kind of the summary of that conversation.
I mean, to be fair, what each of you have gone through so far in this show, I don't blame you for hating gods. They're kind of dicks.
That's the general rule for them.
So after the party, you go back to the tavern. You meet Leo the Leonin.
The cowardly Leonin.
You head off to the next spirit location. And I think the best way to summarize a lot of this is a split party. Although there is something we need to touch on in this because it's kind of funny. Get into the temple and all kinds of fun stuff, and you kind of traumatize a little girl, which I don't know if that actually traumatized that little girl in real life or not. I haven't seen her since then. We haven't had to use her as an actress since then, so I don't know.
Are you telling
No,
me you
she's
don't
just an
have
excellent actress.
you don't have anyone
Remember?
to follow up on your child actors and make sure they're okay after fight scenes?
She's one of those ones her parents said that she's only working while she's on set, not to contact her off set.
Well, all right. Understood.
Mama's very strict.
Well, then I'm sure her parents are taking care of it at that point. Anyway,
But yeah, there was like a whole battle on top of the mountain. Where you
The
scared them.
kaiju battle.
Yep, basically.
and I dropped a giant frog on a bunch of people. Well, not a bunch, a couple of people, but
We had to redo that take 3 times. The set broke 2 of those times.
Well, one would say use something stronger than duct tape, but we've already been over this.
It happens. It's a big animatronic frog.
You know, there are ways to create special effects where you don't actually have to drop the frog from a high distance.
You see, we had to hire a new CGI team as the last effects team kind of left.
Well, anyway.
That's a good. It's a good thing our contracts aren't with you. It seems.
Yeah.
We meet.
No, yeah, gonna move past that. So we also meet the other spirit that's kind of there. We were here for one, but we also got another because the three baddies from the end of season 1 kind of show up. You know, that little girl that you were talking about?
Well, two of the three. They're missing one.
Oh, yeah, two of the three.
One of them is missing for some reason.
I just remember them as the three, so I just...
That's valid.
Well, yes. We meet the spirit Fade, who is the elemental spirit of darkness. And Fade is actually a pretty cool guy, but he has made a deal with our enemy, so that's a little awkward for a moment, but he then agrees
But not
to
a pact.
kind of turn... Yes, not a pact. That's important. Just a deal. But then he agrees to kind of work against them for our benefit and lures them away and kind of gets rid of them. So that was nice. And all we had to do in return was exactly what we were already doing, which was to go free the elemental of light. So
Yeah. So we kind of find the secret door to kind of open.
Oh, yes. And you get into this, you open a portal, get into, essentially you fight the sun. I mean, that's probably about as simple as I can make that.
I mean,
The sun if they were a giant cat.
Exactly. And embarrass this element of light throughout the entire fight, and this is one of the reasons why I have to deal with the writers.
Oh, yeah.
The writers gave the cat to the coward who did that.
oh sure, you're blaming it on the writers. To sum up,
That's
we
what
brought Leo, the cowardly lion, along because we're totally not taking directly from, a different cowardly lion in popular media. And the three of us, the three main characters, fought valiantly, bravely, and Leo hid most of the battle until basically the very end. But he was awarded the pact for being brave. And
Because he did one move. Just one move.
he had like one
to impress
line
the cat.
the whole episode.
I think he kept forgetting his lines.
And
I
like,
honestly do.
I understand not to make like the three main heroes the most powerful beings, but also he didn't do nothing. Ugh.
Already heard it all once. It's okay.
I mean, I'll rehash the story over and over again. You know how cool it would have been to have a cat on set?
It technically still is on set.
The cat's still kind of on set, but I have a little pet snake, whereas our what minor character guy gets to have the cat.
Technically, he did not take the cat with him. It was confiscated.
Well, yeah, because he couldn't take care of it. They gave it to
Exactly.
someone who couldn't even take care of it. This is the moment when we learned that the spirits really choose who they're going to make a pact with very arbitrarily. they just kind of decide to do whatever they want and then claim it's for whatever reason. It's very frustrating. You know, maybe the cat chose the Leonin over us because the cat likes other cat creatures more.
Or the cat knew it could
It's possible.
trample all over the Leonin and do whatever it wanted.
That's fair enough.
100% think that's it. That they can bully the cat, couldn't bully one of you.
Yeah, the gatekeeper got an earful when we were talking to him
Oh yeah.
about the entire lot. But
Callie found kindred spirits that agree that the gods are useless, which was fun. It was a fun scene to play.
however, you remember that secret door? You'll be recognized the writing of it. So she had a letter that she handed to our dear friend Zug Fritz Sig Trigger to read.
Ah, yes.
He obviously knew what was going on. And that's kind of when we find out Yulby is kind of related to Ira, I think.
Kinda is putting it mildly.
Go watch the show for more details.
You get all of this done. The letter is read, and you find out this information about Yulby, and the gatekeeper sends you out to the next location. Only you don't go to the next location. You end up in a city in a swamp, and more godfuckery ensues. And I think we're going to leave it at that, because that's one you're going to have to listen for yourselves. One thing we learned in that: don't go right.
Yep.
Oh, just a small hint. Just a small hint. There's a brothel involved. But we had to be tasked with a thing to get a key, and we go do that.
Yes, and this is also kind of where we learn that there is a god, Leviathan, who is actively working against what we're doing, because I suppose the gods can't just sit around and do nothing like they do literally all the rest of the time.
Oh, I guess the other important thing is Yulby got like another little stone in her axe.
Oh yeah.
The next stone is very important.
Yes, because we have to deal with gods, and apparently Yulby's just collecting rocks from them. I wonder if that axe is one giant engagement ring. They're very pretty stones, and they're just giving it to her.
Those are real stones, by the way.
Oh, I believe it.
And you make it to your location finally. You make it to the mountains, and you're split.
Yeah. This is where the houses all move weird. We did not know what was going on, since it was just Callie and I.
Yes, so
That was a fun set.
they spent the entire episode sending us running up and down the entire set, while Zug, Silver, you want to explain what you were up to?
Well, there's a couple different situations and different medias that it kind of was mimicking in a certain sense, but essentially a powerful figure was challenging Sig and Fritz to a battle of wits, and Sig had to defend and Fritz had to go on the offensive, and the goal that I guess what was there is you should say not really a pact, but more of like a deal, kind of like the same thing with Fade, and there was some more learning between the two personalities and what happened there, more understanding.
You had to play a game against yourself, and the fact that they made you get up and run to each side of the table over and over and over again was hilarious.
You say it's hilarious.
That wasn't my idea, and I went with it because it was funny.
My chiropractor thought it was an excellent payday. Having to get up, sit back down, get up, sit back down.
And you also got to see what Sig Trigger actually looks like.
A pretty fine man.
That was a fun costume.
Pretty fine man, if I say so myself.
All right, don't get it again.
I mean, they had to get another actor on set, but
That's not very nice.
you made it too easy.
I understand when they put the blonde wig on, it definitely changed who I would look like. I get that, but
Then we go back to the tavern after you all meet back up.
Really, it's just like hopping back and forth at this point.
But it kind of is. A Halloween special is filmed at this particular point, which hasn't aired yet, so we won't go over that. I will say that some neat items were introduced at this point.
Yeah, we go. Some strange things happen. We get some things. One of these things allows Sig to portray himself as he wants to. Which is where the blonde wig comes in, of course. And the more attractive stunt double, but no, I'm just kidding.
But I also got to come back with an egg. I feel like I'm just collecting these at this point. Just eggs and creatures and doors.
yeah, I'm starting to wonder if somebody had some overflow from the Easter egg supplies.
Oh, probably.
I don't know, maybe your character just secretly wants to be a bird with all these eggs.
I'd believe it. The wings are neat when I get them.
Yeah, the wings have shown up a couple of times.
Let's see. We need another elemental, of course, because that's kind of the theme here. So then we go out to the desert, to an oasis.
Desert.
Which is Yulby's hometown of Bastion.
Yeah.
It's a bustling place. It was great.
And apparently you're kind of a celebrity there?
I am. Yobi doesn't go much into it, but she was a fighter in the Coliseum. She even had to sign some autographs. It was great. I'm pretty sure those people were actual fans of the show, and they got to like come in and be in there quickly, and I just signed those little pieces of paper. It was great.
They also got a free holiday because we didn't actually film it in a desert. It was on a beach, which is horrible for electronics and filming equipment and the armor y'all had to wear. But offset, it was the greatest time ever.
Oh yeah, I just dumped it all once we were done recording for the day.
Well, I mean, of course. What else would you do?
I'm not sure what else I would do. But
I don't know.
We got to go
in your costume. I can't imagine all the places that sand gets in. I have a hard enough time with my boots.
Well, it only sucks for the chainmail part of the costume and all the metal bits. The rest of it, though, it is like nice, light, and airy. I could probably take like some beach photos and shoots, and it'll be great. It'll be fun. Sell those photos for fans. But really, getting back to it, in Bastion, we get to go meet pop-ups. Kind of like a caretaker figure for Yulby. I'm not quite entirely sure, but caretaker, not quite dad. Not quite guardian.
Butler?
No. Someone important, though. Someone good.
Your boss, sort of? I don't know.
Sort of.
Technically, yes.
Technically, yes.
Well, we go to the Coliseum. We talk to Pop-Ups. Apparently, he's old as dirt.
That is
Literally.
accurate. And
And
a daemon.
and he sends us on this whole wild goose chase thing.
And we have to solve a lot of door puzzles. And more puzzles. And more puzzles. I got stumped a few times.
Which is impressive, honestly, for the person who's in charge of all the doors.
Oh no, I got the door puzzles. It was the other puzzles.
The non-door puzzles that were confusing. Also, I'm pretty sure one of you ran into a glass wall.
Well, I was trying not to talk about that part, but let's move on. So,
We find the fire salamander with Pop-Up.
yeah, so we finally get to this
Yes.
elemental, and he's just... The person that we spoke to about trying to meet this elemental is just standing there. He already had made a pact. He just didn't tell us.
Look, we've been over this. Time is wibbly wobbly. Also, I'm pretty sure he's like more than 2,000 years old, so
Well, if he was a child, when everything went down, he would be approximately just over 2,000 years. So yes.
I'm still gonna blame the
Yeah.
gatekeeper for all of it, though.
that is the best person to blame.
Speaking of which,
Honestly, I don't think there's anyone
we
else.
go to try to do the whole jumping back to the tavern thing, and apparently the gatekeeper no longer can really do that. He's having trouble with the doors. So, the one thing that made him the most useful is no longer functioning.
But you do have the God's key, so you can essentially go where you need to go.
This is true.
He sends you to the next, and the door opens to the next place.
Yes. We find ourselves on a flying island.
Would it be flying or would it be floating?
I
Because to
think
fly, they would have to have wings, right?
Floating makes more
I
sense.
think that's a physics question that's above my understanding of physics.
Yeah, I just get paid to act, but I had to wonder it.
a reverse magnetized building. I don't know. Either way, it was a set that was about 15 feet off the ground.
Well, it was much higher than that in the show, of course.
Obviously.
But we meet somebody there who'd been stuck on the island for some time.
He was able to help us out a little bit.
The castaway Wilson the chef.
So I think the way of meeting the chef was probably one of the greatest, just for hilarity's sake. When three larger people just emerge out of this little hut that probably could fit maybe two of us.
Well,
Barely that.
I think you forget how short I am compared to you.
That
So-
hut was big enough to hold a bed and maybe a surface to eat on. That could have also been the
Wilson
bed. I'm not sure.
Is a hobgoblin, and he's shorter than you. So
That little hut was tiny, and we just all three come out of the door. It was great fun.
the magic of cameras and mirrors.
You're not supposed to give it away.
He didn't explain all of it, just cameras and mirrors. That's the answer.
He just gave everybody a homework project, so when the camera crew takes a strike, he can bring in some replacements.
No, they should be fine. They get paid more than I do.
Let's see. We know that we're after another elemental.
The flying one.
Yes, a flying one, obviously, because we're in the sky. So we find ourselves a flying ship. conveniently. And then we get attacked on our flying ship. And there's
Which
this
was not
whole-
convenient.
No, that was not convenient in the
It was not
least.
convenient at all. No, no.
We get attacked, and a bunch of pirates crash our ship, and
No, hold on a second. The pirates didn't crash the ship.
That's if you want to call them pirates.
Technically, the Wyvern crashed the
I
ship.
feel like the pirates set the stage for the crashing of the ship to occur.
Well,
The Wyvern that you woke up.
yeah.
I think we can all say mistakes are made all around.
Yes.
But the pirates had another thing coming for them when everything was all said and done.
Yeah, they did.
Because we also had
And
another friend that time, too. Another guest
Yes.
from another thing.
A special guest who played. We just called him Lord Kick.
Lord
Can't
Kick.
remember.
Well, I had a really tough
Can't remember
time
his
pronouncing the
actual
name.
Character's name.
I blame the writers for that one. That is a true one right there. I could not say it.
Yeah, Lorgic, something like that.
I just want to know how if the writers actually come up with these names, just use a name generator.
Honestly, it's a toss-up.
Let's see.
You meet him. He punches people for trees. That's pretty much his whole character.
Yeah, he defends nature and all of those things. And apparently some of these pirates had not only offended us, they also offended nature, so now they needed to be punched. Or one guy specifically. And there was, going back just a moment, there was a whole fight with a wyvern that was woken up by the altercation with the pirates. And unfortunately, the wyvern did die, even though it was kind of an innocent bystander in the situation, really. But Callie promoted it to Guardian of the Island, so, maybe its spirit's happy.
Well, I think it also kind of like united the pirates and like our whole hero group together just a little bit. We didn't just like be afraid of the thing because it started a fire.
Yeah. You'll be used an impressive power during that whole firefighting thing.
Yes, because I had Raymata and my own internal magic. Just made all the grass grow again. It was great.
It was amazing.
I don't know. I'm still a fan of the
Wyvern
hat.
tail was collected.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you
The
can.
wyvern tail was collected. A hat was collected. Some unseen benefits were collected.
You want to talk about that to the listeners?
Which one?
Zug mentioned his hat. I thought maybe he'd want to say something.
Oh yes.
Well, I just say the really great hat that came up out of nowhere. Just make a angry man needed to just vent some frustrations and come out of the way with a hat, and then did the whole ceremony. It's a good little situation there.
You're still wearing the hat though. Today. We're not even filming today.
It's a really nice hat.
Well, didn't
Anyways,
you also kind of like use that hat to like make all the pirates work for you?
well,
And now we kind of have our own ship in the sky. It's kind of great.
whoever wears the biggest hat's the captain.
Which is apparently a rule.
It is. It's established.
In short, they crashed our ship, and well, now they needed to fix the ship. So they sort of work for us now, and Zug, or I think specifically Sig, got to be in charge.
Well, I mean,
Make
Sig's been a commander multiple times, so he just kind of naturally fell back into that role.
the
I think he's gonna.
ship is repaired, and you get back into the sky.
Yeah, we go flying because we gotta go catch that flying horse. And that was a time once we finally caught up. because Callie had to magic talk the ship into following the horse, and we all use magic and tricks to try and catch it because, lo and behold, we gotta play a game of tag with a flying horse that goes a bajillion miles an hour. So many.
A flying horse that's the size of an adult dragon, by the way. This is not an ordinary horse.
That apparently can break the sound barrier.
Yeah. But I got to ride it, kinda.
That was fun.
That was
Yeah,
pretty
I
fun.
was
It was
Pretty fun to watch.
Well, really, because the giant prop was a bunch of ropes and strings and things that I just had to sit and hold. It was great.
You know, we could almost dress that up a little bit and have like an entertainment ride that people pay to ride, you know.
Oh, kind of like how one does like the mechanical bull.
Yeah, exactly.
A swishing tail.
It could be a thing. I could see people
Catch-
paying for that.
You're able to catch and hold on to the flying horse, Pegasus, if you will. And you strike a deal with him, just as you've done before. No contract. He gives you a feather, a rainbow-colored feather.
Well, that's because the flying horse friend, he had a pact with the ship, something. I don't remember, or he didn't have to have
The
a pact.
previous ship's owner.
Oh, and you got another pet.
Oh yeah, and I got another pet. My little, the little egg hatched.
Yes.
It's like a little tiny pangolin thing.
Super adorable. Eats nonstop.
Oh, definitely.
And if you don't know what a pangolin is, well, at this point, just look it up. It's not a penguin. That's not what you're hearing. It's pangolin. I had to look it up too. No embarrassment there, listeners. It's fine.
Although a penguin would be pretty awesome.
An armored penguin? Yes.
Oh, maybe that will be the next pet on set.
How sad would it be to hatch an egg with a flightless bird in the flying episode?
Well, we hatched a flightless rodent thing, so
Well, okay, but that's a little different. That's not quite as sad as a flightless bird in the middle of the flying episode.
I'm sorry. I may be a personal opinion here, but you cannot be sad when penguins are involved.
Also
I mean,
true.
Fair.
But there's also a mystery door on that ship, and we go check it out, but not much happens.
Well, once you go back to that mystery door after you've gotten the feather, you're able to use it to return to the tavern.
Yeah, but we just used the tavern key. Like, there's just a door in a room that's all decorated. I still have questions about this prop piece.
In due time. In due time.
Oh, I know. Oh,
Wilson's in control of your ship.
Oh yes, we put Wilson in
pretty much
charge of
how
all
that
the
sums up.
pirates. This decision probably won't come back to bite us.
he's the chef. He could poison all of them. Everybody knows this. I think we left the ship in good hands.
You return to the tavern where tavern is broken, gatekeeper's missing, and the ghost is no longer a ghost.
I was really weird seeing him not in his, like, full ghostly attire.
You know, I had almost forgotten what he looked like under all the makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad, but it's the truth.
He's very good at playing the madness too, so it's fun.
Anyway, we
Sometimes
talked
I
with
think it
him
might
for
be
a little
partially
bit.
that way.
And essentially, everything's broken. Now we have to go get a key to get a soul stone. It's hidden in this emergency exit thing. Essentially, the soul stone's supposed to fix all the broken things. And of course, because it's the gatekeeper, none of it is simple and none of it's straightforward. And we go out and there's this whole haunted hotel.
Well, don't
thing.
forget we messed up his spaces purposefully.
No. We were totally
Totally
just
freaking
searching for
noise.
the key. It has nothing to...
I
No,
do
we
think-
definitely did get a little bit of payback there.
I do think though the little present left in the safe is probably the best one.
Well, will he have reason to open the safe anytime soon? Because we did take out the soul stone.
Possibly to put it back.
Yeah, we should probably put it back in position when he returns.
That's if he returns. Oh, gods seem to disappear left and right. And who knows?
You make it down into this haunted hotel, and you make a new friend, which is our final guest spot of the season
Oh, yeah.
so far.
He could not remember much of his being. It was interesting to play with someone like that.
All kinds of mystery unfolded there.
That sounds weirdly familiar. I think they're just redoing concepts again.
Oh, but it was kind of cool because learning through his character, we also got to find the ending of the true Dizzy Dazzle.
Yes.
Because at some point, Jack kind of like explained who Dizzy actually was.
He did. Sad times. Sad times. You collect the soul stone from a literal safe place because the gatekeeper and the writers like dad jokes. And you rig it with, what was that? A stink bomb? Like a super stink bomb?
It was the same stink bomb he had rigged in his room that got rigged into the safe. Because Sticky Fingers, the name for Fritz, managed to
It's
detect
funny
the
because we
trap
just lost a
stop it
ghost
from
and then we
happening.
gained a ghost. Well, yes. I wonder if we would have had that ghost walk into the
So
tavern.
we just
if
moved
he
it to a
would have
different
become
location.
Not ghost.
Exactly. You find out our guest this time was actually a ghost, which was fun. You helped him find out what happened and he moved on. And then lost him again.
And then lost him again. We'll never know.
I don't know. We'll never know. Never thought about that. You return to the tavern with the soul stone, and I think that is where we last left off.
Yeah, that's where we currently are. You have gone over all the things. Now, I do think we're needed back in dressing, so we can move on to the next bit, because I'm curious about what I have to act out.
Oh, it's gonna be fun times. I think we'll end this right here, as we always do. We love you.
Oh, we're going to that.
Oh, love you, bye!
Bye.
Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't know. It's fine.